Miscommunication is expensive. Did you know that the peace talks of the Vietnam War actually broke down over discussion of the shapes of the table in the room? Miscommunication can cost lives. In divorce, miscommunication is consistently cited as one of the top 3 reasons. And in the United States, divorce costs an average of $15,000. It costs us money. But miscommunication also costs us our time and our peace of mind. And though we might be tempted to think that that pales in comparison to these other examples, that's what we value the most, is our time and our peace of mind. So I'll give you a sort of funny example about this. I started dating recently. So I texted him one Friday night and I asked, hey, do you want to go to happy hour with me? And the reply I get was, sure. No period, no exclamation point, no emoji. So what the hell does this really mean? Does he have nothing else to do on a Friday night? Could he possibly be enthusiastic about the invitation and really want to go out with me? Or does he not know how to politely say no? What's a girl to do? Let me tell you, fellas, if there's a little room for negative interpretation, I'm going to take it, because that's how girl brains work. But it cost me my peace of mind and some time, because him being unavailable for follow-up questions as he was working, I was left to my own devices to really try to maintain and reestablish some calm and get back to work until we could figure this out. So when he picks me up that night, I tell him how his sure had actually left me feeling unsure. He reassured me that it was a sure, kind of enthusiastic and happy to come. And so we agreed that from now on, if we were going to respond with sure, there would be some sort of punctuation or emoji to let us know how it really was. But Toastmasters, if something so simple and innocuous as sure or the shape of a table can lead to such costly miscommunication, what are we to do? How does this happen? What is the why? The why is actually, as Lori told us a couple weeks ago, 93% of our message is unsaid. 55% is coming from the nonverbal body cues, and the other 38% in the how, in the tone. Bring this along with our bodies, which is our subconscious, head to toe, is processing 400,000 pieces of information per second. The time of day, our body temperature, how hungry or thirsty we are, the tone of voice, the nonverbal body communication, all of it's coming and it's processing from the bottom up, meaning it's got to get through these lower animalistic survival-based brain centers before it reaches the cortex and we understand that we've gotten a message. Now you pair this, that when we think about communication, we automatically think content. And we also assume message received. But it's inaccurate. We have to figure out how to get our message received. And how do we do that? It's what Dr. Perry, he's the co-author of Oprah's new book, he talks about regulate, relate, and reason. Because the first thing that we're doing when we're getting all this information from the bottom up, most of us have had sensitization due to trauma, and or the communication's actually ineffective and it's taxing or stressing the human attention span, so it's being perceived as stress. So by the time we get the message, we're emotionally charged and we're stressed out, we're functioning in beta brainwave patterns. So instead of listening, being open to learning, we are scanning our environment for threat. And we are trying to figure out if we're safe and if we're included. So that when we regulate and relate, we actually bring our listener's nervous system into tune so that then we can reason with them and get our message through. Now the good news is we're tribal-based. So the fastest way to regulate is to relate. It's called co-regulation. And we do this with eye contact, smiling, soothing tones of voice, even pace of speech. This is what lets people know they're safe and they're included. And then they can hear our message. We can go a step further and improve our relating by going for other information sources such as men are from Mars, women are from Venus, or the 5 love languages like I've used in my practice, or as the Toastmasters Pathway talks about the 4 communication styles. We've got initiating, direct, analytical, and supportive. Now, I'm actually believing that these are going to be mentioned in everybody's pathway, so I'm not going into it, and I'll take you off pins and needles. I'm an initiator, guys, okay? So you might perceive me as gregarious and self-assured, and maybe you think that I talk more than I listen, which can be true from time to time, but not always. I'm motivated by relationships, and I respond very positively to praise and approval. This is how you get to me. And let me tell you, they nailed it, guys, like really nailed it. This is me most of the time, and it actually worked for the initiator that I started dating, who I actually thought talked way too much, and he interrupted me, and that bothered me, so I wasn't even sure I was going to go on a second date. But I'll tell you what he did. He smiled a lot. He kept eye contact. He shared stories with me. And when I told him what my name was, he was delighted, and he kept telling me how awesome he thought it was. So it was smiling and complimenting, regulating and relating that won the day, and now he's teaching me to play tennis. So Toastmasters, if miscommunication is expensive, effective communication and the connection that it offers is priceless.